Carter, I just got to say it out loud. Luke Goode's in the waiting room right now. In fact, let's just get him on the show. JK, let Luke Goode in. Terrence Shannon is slipping down the draft boards as we speak. I don't get it, Luke. What's going on with our guy?
I don't know, man. I was just at the facility watching Khalil get drafted, and I was talking to managers early today. I didn't play with Khalil, and I played with TJ. So I was like, I hope TJ gets drafted first. But he's gonna find the right spot. He's gonna find the right spot. He's a dog, so wherever he goes, it doesn't really matter to me, in my opinion. He's just gonna be that guy.
Yeah, honestly, I think the teams at the back half of this draft, they got to be licking their chops to get a guy like TSJ. I mean, I'm not to look forward here, but I mean, if you're a team like Cleveland, throw him next to Garland, throw him next to Mitchell. I mean, right there, you got a wing thing. They got to draft my guy. This is getting a little absurd in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. I was hoping I was going to hop on and we could talk about where he was going and everything, but I was actually supposed to be there. But Coach Woodson wants to schedule a 7 a.m. team practice when he's still in New York. So that's what we got going on here, man.
we got to talk more about. So y'all working over there, huh?
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna be up at 6 a.m. Doing layups and stuff. So,
respect. Hey, the pinstripe pants, the candy stripes, they don't wear themselves, Luke. You got to earn those.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No doubt. Got to rock those Hoosier Stereo. First time I'm gonna be wearing them, so you got to work for it.
Definitely. So obviously, not the rare given in this this day and age of college basketball, but you're transferring to another Big Ten school. You get a chance to go back home, which has got to be, an amazing experience for you. What has it been like, just being in the transfer portal after, honestly, Greg and I were able to go to Champaign last year for a couple games. There was not a person in the stands or in the city of Champaign that had a bad word to say about you as a player, as a person. What has it been like making this transition to Indiana, which is another, very supportive, wild fan base in itself?
Yeah, to be honest, when I decided to go in the portal, I had a set of schools, 4 or 5 schools that I really would consider if they reached out. And I think a lot of people in today's world, it's tough because they go into the portal without a plan. And then they get stuck with, oh, shoot, now we don't have the decisions we want, or, we might have had something that we didn't think we could get. And then it just makes the decision harder. I know you guys are big fans of Coleman and like to talk to Coleman. He's the character he is. And, he did it right, too. That's another guy that did it right. So I knew, a couple schools that if they reached out, it would be at the top of my list. So, when I decided to transfer, I graduated from Illinois. So I got my degree from that. That was the most important part. But, Indiana called, and I don't know if you guys saw on social media or anything, but my dad played football there. My mom went to school there. My brother's actually at school here now. So it was one of those things, man. It's like I feel like, I helped win a couple championships at Illinois, got my degree. It was time to move on, and I went to a spot that, I'll have a lot of opportunity and, feel a big need for a team that has the potential to be really, really good next year.
Championships, plural. Let me make sure that's clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, put the S on that. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I want
to. Riley, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're gonna get to you. I apologize.
You're good, Greg.
No, Luke mentioned our love affair with Coleman Hawkins. That's actually our sideline correspondent at the draft right now. How about we go back to Coleman Hawkins for Coleman's best available, part 2.
Coleman Hawkins here. From the way that things are looking right now, I think I have the best available as 1, Terrence Shannon Jr., 2, Marcus Domask, 3, Quincy Guerrier, 4, Coleman Hawkins, and 5, Coleman Hawkins again. We'll see how everything plays out, but that's my best available prospects for right now.
Those have been the same best available the whole show, number 1. Number 2, Luke, you're not on the list. What the hell is that about?
He put himself twice. If that tells you anything about Coleman, that's it right there. Yeah. He's not even in the draft, obviously. So he's a clown. We like to call him a clown.
I mean, you got to feel slightly slighted that he included himself twice when he's not in the draft. You're not in the draft. He could have put you in there nonetheless.
That's what I'm saying. We're boys, man. He was on a podcast the other day, too, or a show. Was it you guys maybe where he said who he liked to play with the most? And Buddy said, yeah, he didn't even like name drop me. I lived with him for 2.5 years, and he couldn't say one thing about me. That's crazy.
He went on a whole soliloquy about Trent Frazier and didn't even throw you one mention. We had to mention you ourselves. Like, what about Luke? He said,
That's
Luke
what I'm saying.
too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ask him who he was looking for in transition the most. He gonna tell you me or Terrence.
Jalen Tyson's off the board, 20th to the Cavs. This is yet another wing that I do not believe is better than Terrence Shannon. Luke Goode, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I got it on the TV right here, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't even really know who that guy is. So he's probably nice if he's getting drafted, but I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with TJ over him. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Have you thought about what it's gonna be like when you go back to Illinois for a game?
We don't play there, so that's a bullet. Yeah.
Hey,
no.
Honestly, I wish we would play there because it'd be one of those things like I left the coaching staff. A lot of people get a bad rep when they leave schools now, but I left the coaching staff with a good way. TA is that'll be a mentor for my life for the rest of my life. Coach Tim Anderson and all those guys that are great. So I was actually looking forward to going back, but unfortunately we only play them at home. So we gotta get that game.
All right, I got to ask about the Indiana recruiting pitch because I think. From us, we're just the podcasters. It's like, did Woodson really have to say anything more than like, hey, we need shooting? Because I think I speak for Greg and Carter as well. At times last year, probably Brian too, watching Indiana, we're just wondering where the guards are at. Like the front court's loaded, but they needed the shooting. What was Woodson's pitch to you when he hit you up when you entered the portal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty in tune to all the transfer portal stuff and on Twitter and being able to keep up with all the current information. And I saw them get Ballo, and I play with Kofi, and I know how much space he creates. It's almost like not as good as Zach Edey, but in a sense, I mean, just a big body like that. If teams have to double, especially with Malik too. Malik and Big O together. I mean, that's tough. That's tough to do. So now you got teams trying to pack it in, and that just leaves space for guys like me to come in there and shoot. That's kind of one of his biggest things. And he wants, another thing too is he kind of compared my game to Miller Kopp. He said Miller came from Northwestern as a spot-up guy, known as a spot-up guy, and turned him into somewhat of a playmaker, being able to go off the dribble, take a couple of dribbles, come off ball screens. And that's another thing he said. And, obviously my goal is to play at the next level. So to be able to do that, I feel like in terms of in-game experience, my game's got to expand in terms of that stuff. So, everything that he was saying to me and the roster that we got, my favorite thing to do is to win championships. So I think this team has a good chance to win a championship this year.
I'm sure you were excited as you were going one by one through the names that Indiana added, knowing you were going to be joining them soon. But were you also excited knowing that you are maybe the only great shooter on this roster? That's got it. Like, this guy's not a shooter. This guy, that's all me now, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because then you got a little added pressure, but at the same time, that's what you work hard for, man. You got a lot of people expecting you to do great things, so that's when you got to show up. And I think it's gonna be good for the games. And for my sake, is you kind of always got to have a shooter on the floor. In my opinion, you got to be able to space the floor in today's college basketball game, especially with big fellas, like big guys. If we're going to potentially play Malik and Big O at the 4 and 5, then you got to have guys around them that can shoot. And Mac McKenzie is, he's good. He's a good shooter. Gabe Cupps, I think he's the second leading 3-point shooter this summer, and just in playing and skill workouts. So he's really improved. I mean, he's in there every morning about 6 a.m. getting shots up. So, but when you add a true dynamic shooter like me, I feel like it can expand our offense that much more.
We have long had the theory that Gabe Cupps, as you mentioned, is the key to this entire Indiana rebuild, if we could call it that, right? Because they weren't as good as they were supposed to be last year. Gabe was on the team, and they swapped a bunch of guys out. Some guys left. Khalil Ware gets drafted. You get this influx of talent. And we're watching all these visits. Like you hear Umar Ballo's going to Bloomington, right? And then you hear Miles Rice and Cannon Carlisle. Then it's Luke Goode. Then it's Bryson Tucker. Boom, 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 boom. Like all in 3 weeks. How are they landing all these guys? Carter, and my theory has been that Gabe Cupps is that special at the bar scene in Bloomington. Is that a fair interpretation?
Bloomington's not like Illinois. So Illinois, you can get into the bars at 19, which is a fun fact. So that was Bloomington, you have to be 21, and Gabe is not 21 yet. So He's not taking us to the bars, but he's a great. Gabe is one of the most personable guys I've ever met in my life. The day that I got to campus, he was the first person I talked to, first guy I hang out with. Still my guy. We get dinner probably 3 or 4 times a week. But he's just that dude, man. He's in the gym before everybody, working out, and he's the last one to leave, in the locker room, jumping on people like a clown and doing all of his stuff. But he's a great teammate. So I think you guys watch enough college basketball. Unless you're, first round pick as a freshman, it's hard to contribute as a freshman. It's damn hard to contribute as a freshman. So he got thrown in the fire in a sense. X being hurt, a lot of pressure on him to perform. And sometimes freshmen, it's tough. They don't have what what they need to bring. But he's going to take that lead for sure sophomore year, and I'm excited to see how he plays next year.
What's the scout on the other sophomore guards on Kanan Carlisle and Miles Rice? How have they looked so far?
Miles is special, man. He is tough. I like him a lot. He's going to be a really good player. And Kanan's gifted too, man. He's super quick. He's probably the second fastest player I play with other than Terrence, just in terms of having the ball on the open floor. Yeah, I mean, he's like 6 foot, 6'1", and dunking on people. So it's pretty impressive. He got athleticism, because everybody clowns me because I don't get on the rim like that in practice. And I'm 6'7", 6'8", and he's down there at 6'1", dunking in layup lines. I'm still getting warmed up because I'm an old head now. So those two guys, man, it's gonna be fun to play with them for sure, because they can both pass too. Miles averaged 15 last year, and he comes into practice and we run 5s and stuff, and he's getting 5, 6, 7, 8 assists a game or a practice. So he's special.
3 is worth more than 2 anyway. So ain't no point of dunking on folks.
That's what I'm saying. I told the coaches, I said, I don't need to be on the rim if I can shoot 3s for you. That's what you guys brought me here for. You didn't bring me here for the athleticism.
It's a simple fact. All right, we got one more question for you, then we'll let you get out of here. Indiana versus Purdue, and now some people are incorporating Illinois into this. That's what everyone is telling us. That's the top tier in the Big Ten. I would argue, no disrespect to Illinois fans, I still think it's Indiana versus Purdue right now. I think those are the 2 best rosters. I have so much respect for who Braden Smith and Matt Painter are. They have to be up there. And I think it's no question, Luke. I think your Indiana Hoosiers have the most talent in this league. It's not even close. Do you think you guys are clearly the best team in the Big Ten coming into next season?
I think so I've been on 2 Big Ten championship teams, right? I think other than last year, last year our team was elite. That team was by far the best team I played with. But I think this team is better than my freshman year team so far. Has the opportunity to be better. And that's my opinion right now. It's still early in the summer. I think, UCLA could be pretty good. I like Maryland. They got a couple good players in terms of just the top of the Big Ten. And there's always a couple teams that sneak in. They win a couple games at the beginning of the conference play, and you kind of turn your head to them, and then all of a sudden, they're 2 games, 1 game behind. So I think there'll be a couple teams like that. But it's kind of crazy that I go from Illinois to Indiana, and Illinois is still in the conversation for top 3 in the Big Ten with us, with the team that I go to. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun this year, but I think we got a real chance to put it all together. Coach Woodson, I know he gets a lot of hate, but I think he's, one of the better coaches I've been coached by already. So he knows what he's doing. He really respects relationships, and everybody loves to play for him. So that's what you can see here for sure.
You heard the man. All right, Luke, we'll be watching all season long. As you mentioned, it's going to be a fun year in the Big Ten. Open invite, by the way. You called yourself an old head. We are definitely old heads, and that was one of the most entertaining interviews we've ever done. So anytime you want on the show, Luke, you let us know.
I love this type of stuff, man. I could talk about basketball all day. So whenever you guys want me on the show, man, get me on there. I want to do one with Coleman too. So get us on there together. That'll be a fun show.
We'll line this out closer to the season. Okay. You enjoy the rest of draft night. Get your boy Terrence on a team, Luke. Make it happen,
man. Hey, if I'm a GM, I'm taking him number 1 too, because I don't know who the heck they drafted at 1 either. So I'm gonna take Terrence at 1, but that's just me.
Congrats. Thank you, Luke.
Appreciate you, Luke.
I'm drinking to that, man. This